What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Julia. I'm a certified personal trainer and I post all things health, fitness, and my lifestyle on here, on Instagram, and on TikTok. So make sure you're subscribed and follow along. You could probably tell by the title of today's video, but we are doing a big old Q&A, okay? It's gonna be a long one, it's gonna be a chatty one, and it is gonna be a fun one. Last week, I posted a reel on Instagram. I'll insert that reel right here. Before, after. Yes, you saw that right. I went from this to this. Well, let me show you again. I went from this to this. And I got so many questions about how I did it. So that's exactly why I created CUT, my 12-week training program. It includes every workout that I did through my CUT phase to help me drop 17 pounds of body fat, maintain my muscle mass, and feel like my best, most confident self. And basically, that reel absolutely blew up, okay? I had no idea it would reach that kind of audience, but I am so incredibly glad that it did because it brought so many new followers and new faces to my Instagram. And with all those new followers came tons of questions, phenomenal questions, might I add. I wish I could answer all of them, but there was hundreds, honestly hundreds. So I picked my favorite 10 to 12 that I'm really gonna chat about and kind of like explain in depth. And then I picked another 15 to 20 that I'm gonna go through rapid fire. I typed them all up onto my computer and we're gonna get through as many as we possibly can. So buckle up and let's get into this Q&A. And the last thing I wanna mention before I get into this first question is just a huge thank you to you all for the continued support, whether you follow me just on here or on here and Instagram or all three of my social media channels. Thank you. I've finally reached my goal target audience and the people who I feel really need to see my content and hear what I have to say and will benefit from seeing my content and hearing what I have to say. I might be super biased, but I feel like my whole outlook and perspective on health and fitness is quite refreshing compared to most like health and fitness influencers. There's no all or nothing mindset here. There's nothing crazy extreme. Like, I am all about balance and sustainability and doing what works best for you. And I love that I now get to share this message with even more people. So thank you. Okay, besides this first question, these are in no particular order, but the first one says, tell us a little bit about you. Like I said, my name is Julia. I am a NASM certified personal trainer. I became a certified personal trainer in the fall of 2019. It was actually my senior year of college. I went to WVU. I was a collegiate gymnast and I loved every second of being a student athlete. I studied sport and exercise psychology as well as nutrition and food studies. So mind, body, fuel, those are my specialties. But college gymnastics was the most incredible experience of my entire life. And honestly, it was like my only goal in life. Obviously, I have new goals now, but growing up, my only goal was to be a collegiate gymnast, specifically at WVU. Like, I grew up going to summer camps. I fell in love with the coaching staff and I had such tunnel vision. I was like, I will be a collegiate gymnast at WVU. Like, I need to make this happen because I am so obsessed with the whole environment and the coaching staff, and like, I know I will be happiest there. And boy, was little Julia right. I had the best experience in the entire world. And I feel like a coaching staff can really make or break your experience when it comes to collegiate sports. I was so blessed, so fortunate. The entire experience was honestly like a million times better than I ever could have imagined. And just being a part of that team, competing for that team, like, it was honestly like so surreal to think that I even did that. It's probably my proudest accomplishment and like just such an incredible 4 years. And that's also where my love for health and fitness started. We had a really, really tough strength and conditioning coach and I honestly loved her. I loved how tough she was. I loved how tough our workouts were. And I thought it was so fascinating to see how what we did in our workouts like translated to our performance in the gym. Like, it was just the coolest thing in the world to me. And since then, my freshman year, I've just been obsessed with health and fitness and I can't see myself working in any other field. So now I have my own business, I coach clients, I sell programs. I'm obviously very active on social media, putting tons of info and advice and education out there. And I just love what I do. So there's a little blurb about me. Have you always been strong and how long did it take you to lose the weight? So to answer that first part, I'd say I've always been strong, but it's like gymnastic strong. So very like body weight, calisthenic strong. Since I was a gymnast from age 5 to 22, that kind of built me a great foundation in terms of my strength. But in club gymnastics, so from age 5 to graduating high school, I didn't do any type of like actual strength training. We never lifted weights or anything. Our conditioning was all body weight, very like gymnastics specific, like gym circuit type, almost like HIIT training, honestly, all body weight. Then once I got to college, the whole strength and conditioning component was like really tied in, and that's when we started actually lifting weights and doing like proper strength training. So I'd say I am very strong from my whole experience being a gymnast. I'm very fortunate for that, and I'm so incredibly thankful. And then the second part of that question said, how long did it take you to lose the weight? I'm assuming that's in reference to the 17 pounds I lost when I did cut. If you didn't know, I had no intention of creating cut for you guys. Like, I created the training program for myself. It was based around my own goals, my own equipment, and just totally revolved around me and how I wanted to look. But once I saw how great my results were with cut, I knew I had to share it with you guys because I got so many questions about what workouts I was doing, how I was training, what I changed, etc. So I took myself through the whole 12 weeks last like fall to winter. Then following those 12 weeks, I did a reverse diet, hung out at maintenance for a few months. Then I actually put the program into ebook format, made it available to you guys, and launched it on my birthday in April. Once I launched it, I did it again. So there's another 12 weeks right there. Those 17 pounds I lost were from start to finish. So first time doing cut, building those calories back up, hanging out at maintenance, and then second time doing cut. So in total, it was about 9 months between my before physique and my after physique. So that might sound like a really long time, but honestly, that's exactly what I was going for. I wanted very slow and steady weight loss, slow and steady progress, because that would be lasting and like sustainable progress. And I was so incredibly right, because now like my current physique is so easy to maintain, and it definitely helped improve my metabolism by doing this whole slow and steady approach to it. I did the first 12 weeks. Then I took myself through that reverse diet, like I mentioned, and built my calories back up to maintenance. Then I realized that my new maintenance calories were actually way higher than they were before doing cut. So that kind of told me that I improved my metabolism a little bit, and I could eat more and still sustain the weight loss, which was fantastic because I absolutely love food. Then, like I said, once I launched it on my birthday, I did it again. So the 17 pounds was over the course of 9 months. So hopefully that helps answer that question. Why do you think HIIT training didn't provide the results that you got doing your current training split? If you didn't know, I am absolutely obsessed with my current training split. I've been doing it for over a year now, and I have zero complaints about it, okay? It's just the greatest training split I have ever done, and I don't see myself changing it anytime soon. But it is Monday, legs, hamstring and glute focused. Tuesday, push, chest, shoulders, triceps. Wednesday is active recovery day. Thursday is leg day again, but quad and glute focused. Friday is a pull day, so back and biceps. Saturday is active recovery again, and then Sunday is a rest day. And prior to switching to that training split, I was kind of all over the place, but I did a lot of strength training and a lot of HIIT and like a lot of sprint intervals, and I would randomly go on like super long distance runs. But I was doing a lot of HIIT, okay? And I was not making progress at all. Like, if anything, my progress was going backwards, and I just felt terrible. But the reason for that is because strength training has the greatest adaptive effect on your body, okay? Your body is incredibly smart. It learns from the stimulus you give it. So if you are strength training, that tells your body that it needs the muscle, okay? It needs the strength, so it holds on to that, and it'll burn body fat. If you are doing tons of crazy intense HIIT and cardio and lots of body weight stuff, that kind of tells your body that it doesn't need all that muscle mass, you know? It can burn it because you're not really using it. And of course, I am oversimplifying this just to make it easier to understand. But if you wanna learn more about this, I actually grabbed the book because I love this question so much. Read this book, The Resistance Training Revolution. It is incredible. It's by Sal DiStefano from Mind Pump. Love them. They have so much great educational content. But basically, long story short, strength training has the greatest adaptive effect on your body, so it's gonna be the most bang for your buck in the long run. Like, if you just wanna burn calories and that's all you care about, just go out on a run, okay? Just run forever. But if you actually want to change your body composition, hold on to that muscle mass, burn body fat, strength training is going to be the biggest bang for your buck. Once I switched to 4 lifts a week, walking and giving my body plenty of rest, I saw results so quickly and so well, like the exact results I was going for. So That was a very long-winded way of saying that strength training has the greatest adaptive effect on your body. I love this next question. It says, have you seen success with this program for women in their 40s or 50s? Yes, plenty of success from plenty of women in their 40s or 50s, but to name my favorite, my mother, okay? She is 56 years old. She doesn't look 56 by any means, like she's literally goals. And she is currently doing cut for the second time. She did the first 12 weeks without changing anything in her diet. I told her to just get through the workouts. Like that was her only goal, to get through those workouts. And she absolutely crushed them. I'm pretty sure she lost 8 pounds and gained tons of strength. Like she was noticeably stronger after those 12 weeks and she felt incredible. Like she said she was confident in a bikini at age 56. Like if that's not proof of this program working, I don't know what is. But anyway, after those 12 weeks, she took a deload week and she ordered heavier dumbbells because she's actually doing this entire program modified. She doesn't have access to like a squat rack with a barbell or a cable machine, so she's doing all of the barbell exercises with dumbbells and all of the cable exercises with bands. I'll put my little modification sheet on the screen right here. But like I said, she ordered heavier dumbbells and now she's going through cut round 2, lifting heavier weight. And I am just so incredibly proud of her. But yes, plenty of success with women over 40, over 50, like modify the program as needed, ease into the workouts if needed. But yes, this program can be done by literally anyone. All right, I probably got like 20 variations of this next question, but it says, how much protein do you aim for? I feel so puffy when I eat what I'm supposed to. And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't tracked since the first 2 weeks of my cut phase last August. I'm at a place in my health and fitness journey where it's not really necessary because I've gone through so much trial and error and like experimentation to find what works best for my body. And I'm also really good at listening to my body. So I know what different foods are made up of. I know what 20 grams of protein looks like. I know what foods help me feel my best. And I do think that tracking is such a helpful educational tool. And it's part of the reason why I learned what worked best for me, but it does take some trial and error. So with that being said, I don't have an exact number, but I will say that last summer before my cut, when I was my bulkiest, I was tracking and I was aiming for 1.2 to 1.3 grams of protein per pound of my goal body mass. So whatever my goal weight was, I would take that number, multiply it by 1.2 to 1.3, and that range was my protein intake goal range. And I would eat that much every single day, and I felt absolutely terrible, and I felt this puffy feeling, and I hated it. I also was like force feeding myself past full to hit this number because I felt like I had to in order to make the strength gains I wanted, when in reality, that number just didn't work for me. And nutrition is not a one-size-fits-all type of thing. There's no set number that will guarantee you success towards whatever goal you want, you know? Like, you kind of gotta play around with it and find what works best for you. And like I said, I've gone through tons of trial and error, and I have found what works best for my body and what my body responds best to. So once I started my cut, I actually cut that number down to 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of my goal body mass. So once again, I took that goal body mass, multiplied it by 0.8 to 1, and that was my new protein intake goal range. And after eating within that range for a few weeks, I felt like $1,000,000. No longer felt puffy or lethargic, and just like, I didn't feel weighed down anymore, and it was incredible. So for me, that lower range definitely made such a huge difference. It kind of gave me that feeling I was going for, and was also super beneficial for the cut phase that I was in. So it kind of depends on the person and what your body responds to best, and also what your goals are. You know, if you want to bulk, you may need a little bit more protein, but if you want to cut, you may need to cut it back slightly, but you still need to make sure you're eating enough to hold on to that muscle mass. So like I said, trial and error, but you have to find what works best for you. Hopefully those number ranges help answer that question a little bit though. Do you ever switch up your gym routine when you're in a rut? And I'm gonna be honest, I used to switch up my training split, switch up my routine, switch up my goals, literally all the time. And I think it's because I was never seeing like progress towards any of them. But since switching to my current training split over a year ago now at this point, I have never once felt like I was in a rut. And I know that's a really bold statement, but never have I felt like I was in a rut. And I think that's why I love this training split so much, because it is so sustainable, so manageable, so doable, even if you're traveling. Like, it is just the greatest training split in the entire world. And yes, I do force myself to take a deload week every 12 weeks, but typically by the time that deload week comes around, I don't want to take it because I feel so good and I just want to continue training. But at the same time, I know that my body probably needs it, so I force myself to take a deload week, go a little bit lighter, focus on lower intensity, more restorative movement for a week, then jump right back into it. But I really haven't experienced like a rut feeling in well over a year now, and that feels so freaking good. Like, not to toot my own horn, but I'm just obsessed with how I currently train. Next question, I kind of already touched on this. It says, do you track macros? I'm sick of tracking everything I eat. It's exhausting. And no, tracking is just not something that I feel is necessary at this point in my health and fitness journey, but I do think it can be a very educational tool. And for me, it was a very educational tool. I feel like I used it properly. I never used it every single day for every single week of every single month. Like, that was not how I used tracking at all. I would track like 1 day a week or maybe like 3 days a month just to kind of gauge where I was at and learn from that. So if I were to weigh, measure, and log something, I wouldn't just weigh, measure, and log it. I would also pay attention to its nutrient content, what macros made that food up, and kind of make a mental note. So like, oh, that much chicken has that much protein, like, good to know. Now I know that for the next time. And it kind of helps you learn about the food. Then you don't have to be reliant on tracking, and it also just gives you a way better understanding of what you are putting in your body, and you can pay attention to how that food and that amount of like macros and calories and what breakdown makes you feel your best. So I personally feel tracking shouldn't be something that everyone feels like they need to do every single day of their life, because it is exhausting. Just like she said, it's tedious, it's time consuming, and no one wants to be tracking every single thing they eat for the rest of their life, because it is such a hassle, especially if you're someone who eats out. Like, it's just not enjoyable. So don't think that you have to track in order to reach your goals, but I do think that you have to pay attention to how certain foods make you feel, and you have to be informed. And I know it sounds silly, but it honestly makes such a huge difference. So hopefully that made sense. All right, I feel like I have a very unique perspective on this next question, and my answer will give you like an inside look at what's going on up here. Like, you'll understand me better. So stay with me and hear me out. It says, do you feel like to drop the extra body fat, you needed to focus more on food or workouts? I would say majority of people would say food, and that's honestly the more accurate answer, because you really can't out-train a bad diet, and your diet determines your results. You can work super hard in the gym, but if you aren't eating right and like eating to support those goals that you have, you're not gonna make the progress you wanna make. You're not gonna see the results you wanna see. You have to focus on your diet. However, my brain, when it comes to nutrition, is so black and white. It also just like lacks creativity. So when I find something that works, I stick with it. I'm a creature of habit. And I also understand the energy balance or imbalance that you need if you want to maintain weight, lose weight, gain weight. More on this is in my nutrition guide, so I highly recommend giving that a read. It's literally only $10. It's an instant PDF download, tons of info, advice, guidance. But anyway, when I decided that I wanted to do a cut phase, I was like, okay, cool. I just need to do a very slight calorie deficit. And like I mentioned earlier, I also decided I was gonna cut back a little bit on protein. So that cut back on protein pretty much covered my calorie deficit. Also, more on this in my nutrition guide. I talk about that number I like to go for when it comes to a calorie deficit. I like very, very slight calorie deficits, nothing crazy, because they're paired with training, because I know I'm gonna work out. But I personally didn't really have to focus that much on food, because once I kind of told myself, okay, we're cutting back on protein a little bit, making sure we're in a slight calorie deficit, I tracked for those first 2 weeks, got a good feel for what that felt like, and then since I'm a creature of habit, just kept eating that way. So I really didn't have to focus on it that much. However, my training prior to how I train in cut was drastically different. I was strength trained, I was doing HIIT, I was doing sprint intervals, I was doing long distance runs, I was doing short runs, I was walking, I was doing Pilates. Like, I was trying to do it all, and I was not giving my body enough rest. But I am someone who is so go, go, go. I hate to sit still. So like, that was the norm for me. So once I switched to the training style and cut and like how I train now, that was a big change. And like, that was something I really had to focus on and like make a conscious effort to just chill, because the main problem with my training split before, I mean, there was a lot of problems. I just was not giving my body the time that it needed to rest and recover and repair. Like, I was just beating it up day after day and wondering why I wasn't making progress. But it's because I wasn't giving my body any rest at all. And I was trying to do way too many different things that it just didn't support my goals at all. So switching to the training split and cut was something I really had to focus on and take time to think about, because I programmed out this whole entire thing for myself, and I was kind of like the test subject on it to see if it worked, and I was willing to put in that time for it to maybe not even work. But I saw such incredible results, thank goodness, and it really taught me how important rest and recovery is, and how my go doing every different type of training just wasn't the solution. So my main focus was honestly training, but it's because nutrition was just so black and white and like already set for me. So that's why that's my answer, and hopefully that made sense. I know it was super wordy, but yeah. All right, I got a lot of questions about modifications and equipment in regards to cut. So would you get the same results using home equipment as you would using gym equipment? Can you do cut with just free weights and kettlebells? Does cut offer modifications for home exercise, or does it have to be done in a gym? So I'll insert a clip right here of all like the required equipment that is used in cut. Once again, it's designed around my exact workouts, so my exact equipment. But like I talked about with my mom, it can be modified. I'll put my modification sheet right here. That basically substitutes out all the barbell exercises for the dumbbell version of the exercise, and all the cable exercises for the band version of the exercise. So those are quick switches you can make if you are working out at home. And if there's any other exercise that you don't have equipment for, I told my mom to think of the exercise as a movement. If you could do that exact same movement using a different piece of equipment, then you are good to go. And I think I actually had another question. Yes, this one says, is it okay to substitute some of the exercises for an exercise using the same muscle group? If you do not have the equipment at all to even like slightly do that exercise, you can definitely substitute it out for an exercise that works the same muscle group. It's gonna be better than you skipping that exercise completely. So yes, cut can still be super effective even if you're working with limited equipment, even if you're having to modify some of the exercises, like you can still get it done. It's gonna be a lot harder than just following it exactly to a T. But once again, think of those exercises as movements. If you can do that same movement with a different piece of equipment, you are good to go. And if you can't even do that, find another exercise that you do have equipment for that works the same muscle groups. All right, next up, I have lumped together all the questions having to do with alcohol. Do you drink alcohol? If so, how do you incorporate that into your training and nutrition? How often do you drink alcohol? How much alcohol do you drink? What is your opinion on alcohol, and do you consume it? I personally do not drink alcohol at all. I just hate the way it tastes. Like, in my opinion, I'd much rather just eat like an ice cream cookie sandwich or something, or really any food, because alcohol just grosses me out. I'll try a sip of people's drinks if they want me to, but like, I just genuinely don't like the way it tastes, don't enjoy it. I'd rather drink some water, eat some food, and just have a good time without drinking. Like, I'm a very chatty person. I can be super outgoing. Like, I don't need a drink for like the social component of it. And like I said, I just hate the way it tastes. Like, nothing against people who drink, like no hate or anything, like you do you, but I just genuinely think it's disgusting. I mean, there's also tons of negative like side effects and things, but I'm not even like talking about that. Like, I just hate the way it tastes. So no, I don't drink alcohol, and I never really mentioned that, but like, it's just not even a thing in my mind. Maybe I'm weird. Like I said, very black and white up here. All right, this next one I am definitely no expert on, but it is a topic I want to learn more about. The question says, what is your opinion on women and intermittent fasting? I personally don't intermittent fast. I just don't think it's something that would ever be optimal for my lifestyle and my schedule and my goals. I wake up and my stomach is growling. Maybe I have conditioned my body to be this way, but I personally just feel better when I eat something small before getting into my workout. And I mean, food, calories, it's energy, so it makes sense that that helps me feel stronger, more energized, and awake for my workout. But with that being said, if you're someone who intermittent fasts and you love it and it works super well with your schedule and it's helping you work towards those goals that you have, that is great. I have seen research kind of supporting why it works better for men than women. And I think it all has to do with hormones mainly. Men operate on a 24-hour cycle, whereas women operate on a 28 to 30-day cycle. So because of that big hormonal difference, we see a big difference in results between men and women. But once again, I'm no expert. I definitely need to do more research into it. I just have heard that it can be very harmful for female hormones. So definitely something I want to look into. All right, moving on to the rapid fire questions. How do I really get my stomach to be flat? I lift and eat protein, but still have stomach fat. Unfortunately, you cannot spot reduce fat. You can't pick and choose where you lose fat from first. You have to lose overall body fat. So it's great that you're lifting. It's great that you're eating protein. That'll definitely help. But if you're not eating in a calorie deficit, you're not going to lose weight. More info on that in my nutrition guide. Which leads me right into this next question. What does CUT include and what does your nutrition guide include? CUT is my 12-week training program. It is just workouts. It is every single workout that I did throughout my 12-week CUT phase to achieve my goal physique, my goal body. There's info on how I choose weights, info on how long I rest between sets, what to do after the 12 weeks, etc. My nutrition guide is basically an educational resource. It's a quick read. It is literally like 10 or 12 pages. I'll put the table of contents right here. Each chapter is just a page. I really simplify things, break things down, make it super easy to understand so that it's easier to apply to your own diet. Tons of info, education, advice, guidance, how I help my clients, and then also info on my own diet. How much weight could you lose by doing CUT? Honestly, this totally depends on the person and how big or small their calorie deficit is, if they're even doing it in a calorie deficit. I've had people purchase and do CUT in maintenance or even in a surplus. It really depends on what your goals are, but a good rule of thumb for weight loss, if you want sustainable weight loss, is to aim for ½ pound to a pound of weight lost each week. That's gonna give you lasting results that you can actually maintain rather than super quick weight loss where you gain it all back. So like I said, my mom lost 8 pounds. I lost 17 over 2 times doing CUT, so that's over 24 weeks. I have had one of my previous clients did CUT and she lost 12 pounds in the 12 weeks. So it really just depends on the person. How to do a proper bulk. So I'm actually in like a lean bulk right now. I'm calling it like a mini bulk, my build phase, and I'm actually really enjoying it. But how I'm going about it is that I am really focusing on my strength training. I cut back on cardio because I don't want to like burn any excess calories because that would kind of work against my mini bulk that I'm doing. I'm also really prioritizing my protein intake, and if you want to bulk, you need to be in a calorie surplus. I'm doing a very slight calorie surplus, and I'm trying to get that surplus from protein to really just support muscle building rather than gaining a bunch of extra body fat as well. Like, I kind of want what I'm gaining to be muscle. Obviously, with any bulk, you're probably gonna gain a little bit of body fat as well, but that's just how I'm personally going about it. Next one says, where should I begin if I'm wanting to CUT? Tons of info on this in my nutrition guide. I would recommend finding your maintenance first and then cutting very slightly from there while also implementing whatever type of training you want to do. Obviously, I'm biased. I would definitely say to get CUT, get my nutrition guide, learn about the nutrition adjustments you can make, learn how to find your maintenance calories, learn how to find your deficit calories, and then apply that while going through CUT. Recipe for success. Next one says, how much should your calorie deficit be for a very active girl? I actually touch on this exactly in my nutrition guide. So I like very, very slight calorie deficits, especially for someone who's very active. And it's also super important to mention that you wanna make sure you are starting in a healthy place. You know, you wanna make sure your calories are plenty high before ever going into a CUT. Next question, how do you sustain the CUT after you're done the 12 weeks? So like I said, I did CUT, did a reverse diet, chilled at maintenance, then did CUT again, lost weight through both of those cuts and was able to kind of maintain through my maintenance phase. I did continue losing weight through my reverse diet and at like the very beginning of like where I thought my maintenance was, because like I said, my new maintenance calories post-CUT were actually higher than my maintenance calories pre-CUT because I created a more efficient metabolism for myself. So that was kind of fun to play around with and see. And once again, this all comes down to some trial and error, giving yourself a little bit more fuel, seeing how your body responds to it. But I actually continued training the exact same way. I just made those tweaks to my diet. So nothing really changed with my training throughout that full 9-month span. It was my diet that I was making very subtle tweaks to here and there, simply because I just love the training style so freaking much. But like I said, I am in like a mini bulk right now. and my training has changed slightly, and I'm still really enjoying it because it's the exact same training split, but my workouts are slightly different looking, and I'll share more with you guys soon. This question's a lot like the first rapid fire question. It says, how would you reduce bulk in the arms/traps for more petite looking upper body? Once again, you cannot spot reduce fat, but if you're talking like muscle bulk, you could just stop working those areas as much or stop lifting as heavy when working those areas. That has at least worked for me. My upper body used to be really, really big. I used to lift really heavy. I have cut back my weight a ton on upper body. I'm usually lifting like 5s, 10s, 15s, nothing crazy. I'm doing a lot of body weight, upper body stuff, and I have noticed a huge difference in the lack of bulkiness in my upper body compared to how it used to look. So that would be my suggestion, just because that's what worked for me. What are your favorite activities for active recovery days? If you have cut, you know that the active recovery days are built in Wednesday and Saturday, and I talk about it a little bit in the program, but for the most part, my active recovery days just consist of me getting in a long walk outside, or maybe an incline walk, maybe some stretching. It's usually very light restorative movement, because the active recovery days are there for you to listen to your body and do whatever movement your body needs to feel ready for that next day of training. For some people, this is yoga, Pilates, maybe a chill run. Like, it really just depends on the person. And hopefully these active recovery days and cut are helping you guys learn how to listen to your body, because we're all so different, and that's beautiful. All right, these next two are about food. High volume meal/snack ideas and tips for someone with a big appetite who's trying to cut. So if you have a big appetite and you want high volume, you want a big portion but lower calorie since you're trying to cut. So my go-to would probably be a big old salad with some protein on top. And then when it comes to snacks, I love smoothies. You can jam pack them with fruit. I like to add honey, and then I like to just mix them with water. Keeps it very low cal. If you want to add protein to it or collagen, do whatever you want with that, but those would be my favorite meal and snack. And then the next question says, favorite go-to meals. I'll just name the few that we have here, like in rotation. Shrimp fried rice, bison burgers, we do chicken gyros, we do seafood pasta, pasta with meat sauce, fish, roasted potatoes, and roasted veggies, Mediterranean chopped salad kit with chicken. We just like get on different kicks with different meals and cook like the same 5 week after week after week until we're sick of it. But shrimp fried rice is actually on the menu for tonight. Next one says, any tips on putting together a basic home gym equipment links? I will link Rep Fitness down below. That's where we got majority of our equipment. I really wanted a squat rack and dumbbells. So those were like my 2 must-haves. Our squat rack, our cable attachment, our adjustable bench, our landmine attachment, all of that is from Rep Fitness, as well as all of our plates. Our dumbbells, I think, are like a combo of Rep, Rogue, and Amazon. And then we also have a set of adjustable dumbbells that go 5 to 80 from Nuobel, I want to say. I could be totally butchering that. Our treadmill was actually a Facebook Marketplace find. And then our flooring is horse stall mats from Tractor Supply. They're the exact same material as the Rogue gym floor mats, same size, the 4x6. However, the ones from Rogue were like hundreds of dollars a piece. The ones from Tractor Supply were $49 a piece. They delivered them for free, and they brought them into my garage for me because I think each piece is like 90 to 100 pounds. So that was an absolute lifesaver and big money saver. Tractor Supply and Rep Fitness, couldn't recommend either of them enough. Next question, how do I walk 3 miles a day when I work 4:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday and I want to lift plus have a social life? Nothing is impossible. Prioritize what you want to get done. Don't think that you have to walk 3 miles every single day just because I do. I do that for my physical health, my mental health, and because if I didn't, I would probably walk like 1,000 steps a day, if that, because everything I do is in this home. I work right here at my kitchen island. I work out right there in my garage gym. Like, I don't get any extra steps, any extra movement in going to work, going to the gym, because it's all right here. So that's why I get my daily 3 mile walk in. And if you work 4:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., hopefully you have some type of lunch break if you don't like working out super early or have access to like a 24-hour gym. And if you can't work out before work, hopefully you can work out during lunch or after work since you're off work at 4:30. Or you could prioritize your workouts on the weekends. You know, you don't have to work out every single day of the week. Also, when it comes to having a social life, I might be really weird, but I love walking and talking with friends. I have this one friend, we meet up every single weekend. We walk and talk for hours, and it is so freaking fun. Time goes so fast when we're walking. We've literally walked 7 miles, 9 miles, like without even knowing, because we're just having such a good time chatting with each other, catching up, and it doesn't even feel like we're getting exercise in. So that would be my advice. How long would you say your Crazy Yoga activewear holds up? Does it stretch out? I am not joking with you guys when I say that I got rid of all my old Lululemon stuff. Crazy Yoga holds up a million times better than the Lululemon. It's important to note that I always wash all my activewear, no matter what brand, on cold, and I hang dry it. I did that with Lululemon too, but it just did not hold up at all. My Lululemon leggings would pill after wearing them one time. None of my Crazy Yoga leggings, none of the styles, even their like softest buttery ones, have not pilled at all. Like nothing shows any signs of wear and tear. And I wear my same black pair of Crazy Yoga Dolphin line shorts at least 2 to 3 times a week, every single week for over a year now. And they still look and feel brand new. Like the quality is literally unmatched. It doesn't even make sense that their stuff is so affordable, and I will never stop recommending them because I literally live in Crazy Yoga. This V-neck is Crazy Yoga. This sports bra is Crazy Yoga. These sweat shorts that I'm wearing, Crazy Yoga. Like it's literally all I wear because I love it that freaking much. And no, it doesn't stretch out. None of my stuff has pilled. None of my colors have faded. Like 10 out of 10. I do have a discount code you can use. It is just my full name, Julia Merwin. It'll get you 20% off, which just makes it even more affordable. It is the best activewear in the world. This is not sponsored at all. I would say this even if I weren't working with them. I wasn't working with them at the start. I worked with them months and months after ever finding them, wearing their stuff, posting hauls on YouTube. Like I just genuinely love their brand. How tall are you and what size do you wear in the shorts in your videos? Those shorts would be the Dolphin line shorts. I wear a size small. It's like my true size in all Crazy Yoga stuff, and I am 5'5". Can you link the white sneakers you wear in your workouts? I work out in APL Breeze shoes. I love them. I actually found them on Poshmark. Highly recommend APL. If you ever want to work together, I would absolutely love to. I literally wear your shoes every single day. Next one, does cut include progressive overload? Yes, if you have cut, you know that the reps and sets increase over time. So that's a form of progressive overload. Progressive overload doesn't just have to be increasing weight. It can be increasing the reps, the sets, it can be changing the tempo, it could be adding pauses. Like there are so many ways to go about progressively overloading something. And yes, cut does include progressive overload because like I said, the sets and reps increase. You can also increase the weights as you're going through it week to week. And if you go through cut for a second time, you could adjust those sets and reps again. You can make sure you're lifting heavier. Like you can really go about the progressive overload in however you want to go about it. And that's kind of the beauty of cut. It's just such a great base program that you can build off of really in any way that you want. And the last question says, are you still doing cut now? And no, like I mentioned, I am currently in an 8-week like mini bulk build phase. I'll give you guys more info on that soon. Stay tuned. It's actually been super enjoyable. It is the exact same training split, just a lot less cardio. If you have cut, you know, there's lists, and then I always walk on active recovery days, but I have had to make like a conscious effort to cut back on this. If you want to hear more info on this, I actually posted a build leg day YouTube video, so you can go check that one out. But I'm in my little build phase, and my glutes, they're my main focus for this build phase, and they're measuring 1.5 inches bigger than before this build phase. And I'm actually in the final week of it this week. Then I am most likely going to do a little deload week, maybe hang out at maintenance for a little bit before going into like a final cut before my wedding. And I probably will do cut, my 12-week training program, but slightly tweak it to just better fit my very specific physique goals that I have for my wedding. So hopefully that helps answer that. I am kind of embarrassed to say that I have been talking to my camera for like 3 hours now. My throat hurts really bad, but I am wrapping this up here. So I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give this video a like, make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you all next time. Bye.